Cause Cyber Waffle put out a video a couple hours ago. That apparently the UK is looking to introduce a digital ID. Like introduce a digital government ID. So we know Cyber Waffle is pretty good with his information, and for the UK strays, this could be important if you're not aware of it. So let's hear it.
So 2 days ago, I sent a text message to my friend saying it's only a matter of time until they introduce like some form of digital ID, because what's happening at the moment is absolutely insane within the UK. Because wouldn't that be absolutely dystopian? Starmer plans electronic ID cards for all to help stop the UK boat migrants. Prime Minister...
Wait. Let me read. Wait. Electronic ID cards for all to help stop UK boat migrants? Motherfucker, you've been welcoming the boat migrants in with open fucking arms. So what kind of happy horse shit is this? I'm sorry, I'm pulling bullshit.
Prime Minister chairs emergency meeting with ministers to discuss the use of digital ID cards. Now, to be clear, this isn't just for migrants, this is for the whole UK population, and they're saying that that's a thing to curb the migrant crisis. Now, we are going to go through this whole article, but there's a few things.
How? The people of the UK already have IDs. That hasn't stopped the migrant crisis, and IDs already exist. Why do you think creating digital versions of them is going to make any difference? How can you possibly think introducing digital ID cards is going to make any difference than the normal ID cards that already exist? Other than you're going to use these digital ID cards, tie them into your Online Safety Act, so people have to use their digital ID cards to access the websites that the UK is saying, oh, you need to do ID to access this website, and you use a digital ID card instead, and now the government is tracking every single website you're going to based upon your digital ID card. That's the purpose behind this. They're issuing the digital ID cards because they're going to fold this into the Online Safety Act and make it so that when you want it, so instead of going to the third party, you have to use your digital ID card to log into this website, or probably any website. They're gonna start turning this into, it's gonna go the route of you have to use your ID card just to go online, and that way the government can track every single fucking website that you're accessing, because your digital ID card will be tracking it. That's the route this is going to go.
That we do need to talk about first. So over the past couple of weeks, I've been talking to a few MPs, a few people that work in and around the government, and actually been trying to understand the government's perspective on this, so I can actually like formulate my arguments and bring across my information to you guys in the best way possible. Now, the government actually works in a very peculiar way. Basically, we have like two columns, and I'll put these two columns on the screen right here. We have the list of issues in the UK, which come down here, and then we also have things that the government want here. And then in the middle, we have a category called optics. So for example, they take an issue and they try and find the route that gives them the best optics to find a solution that benefits what they want. So in the case...
Yeah, by the way, this, hang on. Come on, Peter. Yeah, the migrant crisis control, we are protecting the British people. An MP literally said on a news broadcast recently that they care more about the migrants than they do about the British people. That literally was said by a British MP on a news talk show, that she cares more about the migrants coming in than the British people, than the native British people. That she actually said that.
If it's what they want. So in the case of this, the optics, the vision of what the government are selling to us is that we have an issue with the migrant crisis in the UK. Cool. Well, to fix that, you have to do what we want, which is collect all of your IDs. Now, obviously, they're not going to say it like that, but that's exactly what happens. Now, we're going to get into the article, but very quickly, if you're looking for a VPN that doesn't keep logs, that protects your privacy online, that allows you to access any content from anywhere in the world, make sure you check out Private Internet Access. You can use my link down below to get 4 months free and 86% off, and you greatly support the channel and help me make content such as this. So the article says, Sir Keir Starmer is considering the introduction of digital ID cards for every citizen in the UK as he plans further crackdowns on the small boats crisis. Small boats crisis? They're making it sound like it's the boats themselves that are the problem, like we need to make small boats better. Like what? Okay. Optics. The Prime Minister chaired an emergency ministerial meeting on Tuesday to explore how ID cards could be used to address the pull factors that draw migrants to make the crossing to UK shores. Downing Street also refused to rule out making any introduction of ID cards mandatory, insisting that it is willing to look at what works. You know what's coming. We are days, weeks, if we're lucky, months away from having to have a digital thing on our wallet, on our phone, or whatever it might be. We're days away, weeks away from having like a digital ID on our phones that we have to scan at the checkout at bloody fucking Tesco's. I refuse to be ID'd for KFC. I draw the line. It comes as the government seeks to wrestle back control of the narrative around immigration from Nigel Farage's reform, setting out concrete plans to clamp down on the number of channel crossings.
Yeah, and I heard very briefly about this. Someone from the UK can expound upon it if you know further. From what I understand, Nigel Farage is basically like, we have to stop all this immigration shit. If from the brief little bit that I saw, Nigel Farage was like saying, we need to literally clamp the fuck down on immigration. Immigration has gotten out of fucking control and it needs to fucking stop. And the party is desperate to try and get that message tamped down as much as possible.
Now, here's the really interesting thing. Once again, we're going back to optics, and I know it's something I'm obsessed with on the channel, but that's how the government works. It's how they get votes. We are becoming China. If you like introduce a full social credit system, that's like we are on par with. But with the digital ID, we are 90% of the way there, and it's only going to get worse. Now, some of Nigel Farage's policies in the past, I felt they're a bit loose, and he has actually constantly...
You heckle on GBP. Except the British government is fighting to allow them in. Well, yeah, and that's what I mean, Cortez. The British government is fighting to allow them in. Nigel Farage is saying this shit needs to fucking stop. Nigel Farage wants to clamp it down, and my guess is he probably wants to deport a fuck ton of them too. That I'm speculating on. I didn't hear anything about him saying that. That is pure speculation on my guess. But bare minimum, he is saying that the migration needs to get clamped the fuck down on. They have got to stop letting all of these migrants come into the country.
Some of Nigel Farage's policies in the past, I felt they're a bit loose, and he has actually constantly flitted between different things depending on public opinion. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't feel like that's conducive to someone that really knows what they want. That's conducive to someone that wants votes. But for me, my most important thing is overturning the Online Safety Act and overturning restrictions that basically require people to submit ID to third-party companies. Whichever politician, and at this point, I don't give a fuck who they are, whichever politician stands up and says, no, we are overturning this and getting rid of this, they've got my vote. They have my vote. The other policies I can live with. Like, when it comes to digital freedoms and actual personal freedoms in real life outside of the internet, overturning the Online Safety Act is paramount. And with the Labour government now looking at things like digital ID cards, it is absolutely absurd. Here's the thing, and I can put good money, in fact, I'll bet my whole entire career, YouTube channel, my car, everything on this. That meeting was not on the basis of the immigration situation in the UK. That was not about migrant boats or small boat crisis, as they call it. It was nothing to do with that. It was, how can we monitor the movements of people within the UK? How can we track people? And how can we keep record of what people do, get up to, where they go? And how can we have access to a form of ID in person? For example, in the street, the police officer can't request your passport because who carries their passport around with them day to day? But having a digital ID on your phone, which is mandatory for you to have, is the best way the government can, on the spot, ID check you. And the next...
And that's another part of it, is they're going to mandate that every person of legal age to possess one must have an ID. Because there are people out there Heckle GBP, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but there are people out there in not only the UK, but fucking everywhere that have never gotten an ID of some sort. They have never gone and got a driver's license. They've never gotten an ID card. They just haven't. And it's perfectly fine for them to do that, for them not to have a form of identification. It's going to make life difficult for them in some respect, but there's no legal obligation for them to do it. And what the UK, I bet, is probably going to do is when they introduce these IDs, they're going to try and make it legally mandatory that every person of legal age to have one must have an ID. You will be legally required to have an ID, have one of these IDs. And if you don't, then you can be arrested. And again, this is freaking 1984 shit right now. That you must have government ID on you. And I'd even say to the point that they're going to require that you have it at all times. They will probably be legally mandatory that you not only have one of these digital IDs, but that you have one on you at all times. And if you're ever caught without your ID on you, and God knows the fingerman can probably just start grabbing people and go, papers, please. Show me that you actually have an ID on you. And if you can't produce one, they'll take you to jail. And as crazy as that might sound, that's the way this is going in the UK. You can see this is the way that they're going. That they're going to mandate this. They're going to mandate that you must have one on you at all times, and that at any time the fingerman can just stop you and just randomly and go, papers, please. No, let me see your ID. It's going to fucking happen.
Part of the meeting probably went like this. Keir Starmer's sat on the cook chair and they're having a conversation about how they sell this to the British public. They need not just the left to be on board, but they also need the right to be on board. So they can say, hang on, we're doing this for the safety of the British people. We're going to try and fix the migrant crisis with this, which, by the way, it won't work. It just won't work. What's a digital ID going to do with someone coming over on a boat that probably doesn't even have a phone? What's that going to fix? What problem is that?
Not only that, so many people don't have phones. Because believe it or not every person has a smartphone. There are plenty of people who refuse to carry smartphones, and if they have any phone at all, they might have a flip phone. How the hell are they going to get a digital ID on an old-ass flip phone that's not a smartphone?
Fixing? I'm not seeing a direct source to resolution here. And they know it won't fix it, but they've got to sell it. The British government are some of the best salespeople in history. I was watching BBC News last night, and some of the stories that they were like selling as an optically good thing to the British public, when you actually look into them, you realise that it's not exactly...
Yeah, you're right, Atanashi. They do give them to the illegal immigrants. Because remember that video we watched, I think it was Cyber Waffles before, where, sorry. It was that clip we watched of the news anchor that basically went, fuck this shit, I'm out, and stormed off set. They showed the thing of what the migrants get when they come into the country, and one of them was a cell phone. That the British government will give them a cell phone along with money, along with education, along with residency, along with food, along with clothing. They get a cell phone.
Particularly good thing to the British public. When you actually look into them, you realise that it's not exactly as the news article says. There's bits of important information missed out, and you're being missold the truth. Now, we can get into a whole different video, a whole different rant about the accuracy of media. And obviously, this video is not sponsored by them, but I do work with Ground News, and I use Ground News all the time because at least I can see some form of factuality report. You know what? I will put a link to them down below if you want to go and check them out. But the optics of the government and how they sell this to the people is absolutely absurd. And look, I get branded on this channel. I get branded as being either like extremely left or extremely right, which means I'm doing something right. Because if people can't figure out where I sit politically, it means that people can't actually address the points I'm making. They can just try and figure out what my politics are.
Yeah, Heckle, that was obvious based on the flyer that we saw that news lady talking about. That, yeah, they're trying to spin it like it is charity. Look, we're being so generous to these poor migrants that are coming to our country and trying to escape from wherever. And the migrants are better off than a lot of UK citizens. Oh yeah, the spin is strong with this one.
are, and my politics don't matter to the facts of the situation, which that a digital ID system is very worrying for the privacy and protections of people in the UK. Yes, you may catch some more illegal immigrants. Yes, you may catch some more nonces with the Online Safety Act. And sometimes those nonces happen to be the people that work in government that institute these laws. There are benefits to all of these systems. No one's denying that there could be some form of benefit to each of these things, but there's no net positive. There's no thing that wider benefits the British society. The very simple thing to do to fix the current migrant crisis is to be having serious conversations with every single pass-through country that migrants come through to get to the UK. Figure out ways that we can rehome those people either in their original country, help fix some of the issues in the original country, or alternatively, figure out a way or a partnership with another country that can house these people. There are...
Okay, slight problem with his logic there. How many of these migrants that we have been hearing about that are having issues are coming from places like East India, which is a democratic society? Okay, we have so many of these migrants that are coming into the UK that are not coming from like war-torn nations and are legit refugees. They are coming from countries that are democratic nations, that are developed nations, but they're coming to the UK because reasons. So that logic doesn't really work with probably a lot of that. And not to mention that the countries that they're coming through to get to the UK don't want them either. That's the thing. All of these countries that these migrants are traversing through don't want these people either. The neighboring countries of like the quote unquote war-torn states that you have people fleeing from because of oppression or war or whatever, they actually have to pass through countries that are at least somewhat in better shape than they are. And those countries go, fuck you, we're not taking you, get the fuck out. And so they have to keep going. So why aren't the governments talking to those countries that have the means to take these refugees in and say, nah, we're kicking them the fuck out? Why are these other Western countries the ones that have to take on the responsibility of taking these refugees in, who suddenly start taking over the country and turning it into the very place that they fucking came from? That conversation needs to be fucking had.
Many safe countries between a lot of these origin countries and the UK. There are. I mean, France is safer than a lot of these origin countries, but people don't want to stay in France because the people are French. No. No, but like the benefit system in the UK and the way that the UK system can be exploited for migrants is way easier to exploit than other countries. So we need to tighten up all these restrictions, and we need to have serious conversations about how to fix the cause of the issue, not try and put a plaster over the wound that the plaster, the digital ID system, would actually affect the privacy of every single person in the UK. I know I say this an awful lot, but I do get passionate about this because look, we are used to laws changing in the UK. We see it all the time. New laws come in and, you know, some of them are a bit weird, some of them are a bit dystopian, some of them are a bit, you know, bad. Some laws are actually pretty good. There is a mix of different things happening in the UK, but in the space of just over a month, we've gone from like the Online Safety Act to digital IDs to having websites being censored, having so many things happen in the UK privacy space that it does worry me, and it should worry you too. If you've stumbled across this video and you're not really too sure about where you sit in regards to the Online Safety Act, or if you sit in the middle, or if you support it, or if you don't support it, my job here isn't to fearmonger and make people come on board and repeal against the Online Safety Act, or like, you know, it's not about that. What I'm trying to do here is educate people on the usefulness of their privacy, which is why I partner with the companies I do. People really do need to understand that what is happening in the UK is not acceptable. It is an absolute monumental violation of our human rights. The fact that you could be wrongly identified in the street and have to produce a form of ID, a digital form of ID to say who you are, where you're going, what you're doing. And that digital ID, by the way, because it will be linked to like things like your Apple Wallet, for example, that will be used to identify you to a purchase history. And then of course that digital ID would be tied to your passport or another form of official ID.
And it will be used in conjunction with the Online Safety Act. He's not saying it, but it will be used. The digital ID will replace any kind of identification, facial recognition that you need to use to access websites under the Online Safety Act. So that way the government can now track what websites, and that will expand. I guarantee you, it will expand to simply utilizing the internet. Just using the internet. Just using your computer, you will have to use this digital ID to simply log into a browser or log into your own computer. If they go forward with this, that will be coming. I will guarantee you. It is fucking dystopian, and it is coming.
So just to like wrap that up and condense that into a very short statement, the government will be able to know where you go, what you do, who you see, where you shop, what websites you visited, all of this information. And it's not about if you've got something to hide. This is an argument that comes up a lot as well. It doesn't matter whether you've got nothing to hide at all. You should like your privacy. Outside of YouTube, yes. I go somewhere in the UK.
Well, okay, I'm going to say this. It's not even just like, it's not saying that you're doing anything wrong. It's that this can be used by the party to basically decide if they don't like the websites you're visiting, because maybe the websites are something regarding migration, something regarding the party itself, something that the party doesn't want you to look at. They will use that to shut you down or, more likely, arrest you. This is something that the party will do to have the fingerman kicking down your door to arrest you, because it's already happened. People have already been arrested and jailed for saying stuff like completely benign stuff, particularly regarding immigrants, to jail them because of what they said, because of things that they say online. I think it was Nigel Farage that said something about like, oh, some woman made like some kind of like disparaging post on Facebook or Twitter or some social media that was, I don't know if it was off color or it was disparaging in regards to someone. She took it down. She actually took the post down 3 hours later, but she was still arrested, charged, and was sentenced to 31 months in prison. I believe it was Nigel Farage that was talking about that, about how the party is now arresting people for wrongthink online and jailing them. Yeah, 31 months. I think this is getting out of fucking control in the UK. Yeah, oh yeah, you were right. Now, full disclosure, I saw a clip. I did not see the full video. What I saw from it was that the woman, and I use the word disparaging, a different word was used, but basically a woman posted something on social media that was not good, but it wasn't like threatening to kill someone or anything like that. She actually took it down 3 hours later, but still was arrested for it. And according to what he said in this clip, she got 31 months. According to what was said in this clip. So, okay, so Heckle, you've got some more context for me. Good. She was a grieving mother who in the heat of the moment made a bad tweet and later took it down after she calmed down. And she got, and even after she took it down, after she calmed down, she still got arrested. And Heckle, was I correct about the prison time? Was I correct about the prison time? 31 months. Am I correct about that? Because that's just fucking terrifying. That you can be in prison for 31 months for a tweet. That should absolutely terrify you. Fona, a second is too long. The fact that she was arrested at all for making a tweet should be fucking terrifying. She was sentenced for 31, but released early. Thank you, Draco. Yeah, that's what's going on in the UK right now. They're literally imprisoning people for wrongthink. We are there. We are fucking there.
Okay, and I spend time by myself with family, and I don't like the idea of that if someone in the government got hacked, or a system in the government got hacked, or one of the private companies that collect ID, if they got hacked, they would be able to locate me. I don't like that. I go somewhere in the UK to have my little kind of safe space away from the internet, away from my phone, just have a bit of me time. With a digital ID connected to your location services on your phone, that's lost. I know obviously I'm going to be shilling a VPN, of course I am, but things like VPNs will help with this because you'll be able to basically, the UK government will see your digital ID for all of a sudden it's just in like Norway, or you're like in Amsterdam for the day, or your
That's why the UK is trying to ban IDs. They're working on that. The UK is working on banning IDs in the country. That's next. That particular thing is next on their chopping block. We're going to hear about it really soon. Right now, they're just saying, don't be a dick. Stop using a VPN to try and bypass the Online Safety Act. It's the banning the VPNs is coming to the UK. That's next. Guarantee fucking to you. That is next. They're already working on it. I said, did I say IDs? I'm sorry. No, yes, banning VPNs. I'm sorry if I said ID. Yeah, banning VPN. Well, they're also going to ban the old traditional IDs too to replace them with the digital ones. But yes, they're working on banning the VPNs. That's already in the books. They're already in back rooms working on it. That is coming next. And if they push through the digital IDs, they will ban the traditional ones too. Yes, she was in prison for 31 months, was moved to 3 different prisons. One of them, she was put on the ward with murderers and high-risk inmates. She was attacked by the guards and even denied requests for transfer to open prison. Because of the movement her story was getting, the government saw her as a risk. Fucking hell.
VPN. Things like VPNs will help obfuscate this, but it's that once again, VPNs are amazing and I love them and we should all be using them right now, but they are a band-aid for a much bigger issue. And for now, we need to use VPNs whilst we're trying to tackle the cause of the issue. We need that band-aid before we fix the wound. And the wound, unfortunately, at the moment, is the Online Safety Act, this digital ID system that they want to introduce. And we do need to do something about it. I've got to be careful with my words that I use on YouTube, what we can do about it, but we need to do something. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you check out private internet access at the link down below. And I shall see you all in the next video. Love you.
Yeah. This is dystopian. The UK is living the UK is becoming a real world V for Vendetta dystopia. And we all know what happened in V for Vendetta. November 5th is going to be a fireworks show. I think. I have a pretty strong suspicion. Yeah. Good night, Vaha. Good night. All right. Shit. Yeah, it's getting bad over there. Well, Silver, I would not be surprised to start seeing that. This is a powder keg. The UK is a powder keg right now. And any of my UK strays, please be careful. Any of my strays that are in the UK, please, please, please be careful. Please. I don't want any of you getting hurt. So take care of yourselves over there and please stay safe.